Tonight with breaking news into our newsroom, a federal judge has thrown out the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of a woman shot and killed while experiencing a mental health crisis.
The order from Judge Fred Beery comes a little over a week before the three officers named in the suit are scheduled to go on trial in connection to Perez's 2023 death. Melissa Perez was going through a mental health crisis that June when officers fired into her apartment. She died of injuries from that shooting.
Former SAPD officers Eleazar Alejandro and Alfred Flores are charged with murder. Former officer Nathaniel Villalobos is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Beery's ruling comes months after a separate federal judge recommended the claims be thrown out.
A man is in the hospital after being shot in the leg this afternoon downtown near East Cesar Chavez and Hemisphere Plaza Way. According to San Antonio police, a 38-year-old man and his girlfriend got into a fight with some family members when the man was shot in the leg. He was taken to the hospital for treatment and we're told he is in stable condition. Right now, police are still trying to figure out what that fight was about. 2 people were detained, but it's not clear if anyone has been charged in connection to that shooting.
The man accused in the deadly shooting at the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino this weekend is now facing a bond amount of $4.5 million.
That's according to the Maverick County Sheriff.
And our John Paul Barajas joins us now outside of the Maverick County Jail, where that suspect, 34-year-old Korean Jones, is being held. John Paul, what did you learn today?
Yeah, well, what we know is that Jones had his magistrate hearing today, and the breakdown of those bonds is $1.5 million per each of his 2 capital murder charges, and then $300,000 each for the 5 ag assaults with a deadly weapon charges. As for the 2 people that we know that were killed, that is a former CPP agent, Marcus Antley from here in Eagle Pass, as well as Alicia Sanchez from Dimmitt County. The Maverick County Sheriff tells us the type of violence they saw this weekend is a first for many who live here.
That people are worried, like I said, worried that it could happen anywhere, the churches, the schools, so forth. So,
Sheriff Tom Schreiber says he's even concerned about the well-being of some of his deputies who responded to the scene. As for the suspect, he remains here in jail. The sheriff explains the case against him is being handled by tribal officials and the Department of Public Safety. Tonight on the Night Beat, we'll hear more from the sheriff about what he knows about how this shooting unfolded at that casino. Myra, Courtney.
All right, John Paul, thank you. A half dozen San Antonio area school districts are in danger of having the state step in to run things.
The districts have to submit turnaround plans for campuses that are continuing to struggle.
Garrett Berger is following that story. He is at one of those campuses now, Brentwood Middle School. Garrett, so this isn't the state taking over yet, correct?
That's right. They are not stepping in to take over completely just yet. What this is schools that have gotten failing or otherwise unacceptable ratings from the state for 2 years in a row need to submit a plan for how they're going to turn things around. Now, once a campus hits 3 years in a row those failing or unacceptable grades, they've actually got to implement that plan. That's what's facing Brentwood Middle School over here. But while they're doing all this, the district could step in and take a more active role in their affairs. Unlike a student with a bad report card, you can't ground a school or take away its phone. But these Brentwood parents were not happy to find out how poorly the state says their children's middle school was doing. How does that make you feel as a parent?
Not very good.
Well, now we're going to be concerned a little.
Edgewood Independent School District is one of 4 Bexar County districts that have to develop and implement turnaround plans at least one of their campuses. The others are Northside, SAISD, and Judson. East Central and Harlandale ISDs have to develop plans for at least one campus too, but don't necessarily have to implement them yet.
That could look like any number of things, but it is highly dependent on the local context of the individual campus.
Multiple years of unacceptable state ratings also mean the possibility of the TEA appointing a conservator.
A conservator has the power to direct the action of the school board, the superintendent, or individual campus principals, with just a few exceptions.
But that's up to the Commissioner of Education and can only happen after ratings are finalized later this year. But districts generally aren't eager for it.
Now, a conservator is going to be a black mark, of course. If you have somebody come in, it's for a reason.
Edgewood's deputy superintendent says they already have some plans in place for improvement, and they're trying to keep parents in the loop.
This year we started this new. So after they drop off kids, the superintendent is meeting with groups of parents to explain to them what we're doing and how we're going about doing it, specifically for their campuses.
The state has told districts to submit new turnaround plans by November 14th. Now, the goal here is really to avoid a full state takeover. That can happen after 5 years of failing or unacceptable grades in a row. Now, we're away from that right now, but if that happens, the state could put a board of managers over a district, or you could have to close that failing campus. But if they can turn things around, they can avoid that. Live in the Edgewood ISD, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Garrett, thank you. Definitely something we will be continuing to keep an eye
on. More than 50,000 voter registration cards have been sitting in a backlog in Bexar County after the old registration system shut down.
Today, county officials say they finally have a fix. The county is now working directly with the Secretary of State system, and they've hired 8 temp workers to help get all those registration applications entered by hand. Staff started on that today after spending weeks making sure the state's program was up and running here in Bexar County.
So back in August, the old system shut down and a new contract with a new vendor could not be finalized in time. So the Secretary of State's Teams system had to step in.
In simple terms, if you apply on time and you are eligible, your application will be processed and you will be able to vote in the November election.
All right, so don't forget, the deadline to register to vote is next Monday, October 6th. You can scan the QR code on your screen right there at the bottom to check your registration and to learn more about what's on the ballot.
A San Antonio police officer is trying to get his job back after being placed on indefinite suspension. An arbitration hearing began this morning for Officer Raul Rodriguez. According to the city, Rodriguez was placed on indefinite suspension by Police Chief William McManus following an internal affairs investigation. City officials say that investigation looked into 8 documented allegations, things like speeding, failing to write crash reports, and not following body cam protocols. It's the city's stance that McManus's decision was an appropriate course of action.
Going to see a pattern of an officer not doing his job. It's not going to be some big event, but it is going to be a consistent display of neglect of duties throughout at least a 2-month period.
Rodriguez is disputing the suspension as the arbitration hearing continues tomorrow. That's when Chief McManus is expected to testify.
A Bexar County Sheriff's deputy found himself in handcuffs yesterday. He was arrested after allegedly assaulting his wife. According to the report by San Antonio police, they went out to the home of Benjamin Ramos III, where his wife says he hit her multiple times. Police say his wife had multiple bruises, swelling, and a broken blood vessel in one eye. Ramos was later arrested and charged with assault of a family member. He is the 11th deputy to be arrested this year per KSAT's count. And another arrest of a public servant for family violence. At this time, it is a San Antonio firefighter. SAPD records show Michael Anthony Hernandez Jr. was arrested last week on a charge of assaulting a family member. He has since been released. SAFD says Hernandez is a member of their EMS division and has been placed on administrative duty pending this investigation. And we do want to remind you, if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, there is help out there for you. We have compiled an entire list of resources on ksat.com/domestic violence. You can get to that page by scanning the QR code on your screen. Well, charges have been downgraded for 2 teen brothers accused in the deadly shooting of a 14-year-old. Simon Cuevas was beaten and shot near SAISD Alternative School back in April. In a statement sent to KSAT, the district attorney's office says that based on evidence, the charges were reduced from capital murder to assault bodily injury. The brothers are still in custody.
In court today, a woman caught on camera hitting a puppy multiple times appeared before a judge. The video was hard to watch. Back in January, Animal Care Services confirmed Havana Miller was seen in this video hitting a 3-month-old poodle with some kind of object. Miller is accused of animal cruelty. She had a pre-trial hearing today with attorneys addressing the veterinarian who examined the puppy after the incident.
The history of what was provided regarding the pet's owner and was included, and the video as well that was provided, and then the information that the pet was at the ER.
Judge Stephanie Boyd denied the motion to quash the subpoena. That means that clears the way for the veterinarian to testify. A trial is expected to start on Wednesday.
A new state law aims to keep child abuse deaths trending downward. CPS investigators finally have fewer cases, and experts say the state is moving past crisis mode. You may remember during the state legislative session, I told you about a bill that would create an advisory board to make sure these numbers keep dropping. Well, the bill is now law, so I caught back up with the local advocate who wrote it to see what's next.
For the first time ever, the state of Texas will have an advisory committee overseeing CPS investigations and training. That's because of a new state law.
The advisory committee will be tasked with identifying what's working and what's not working, but also tasked with coming up with proposed solutions.
Local child welfare consultant and former CPS investigator Carrie Wilcoxon wrote the legislation. She says this will cement another law she wrote in 2023 that created new training standards for CPS investigators.
The tighter training standards weeded out some cases that maybe didn't need a full-blown investigation, but instead some parenting classes or economic help. That resulted in 20,000 fewer CPS cases, meaning investigators could focus on children that were in serious trouble. Now, some people worried that with fewer investigations, more kids would fall through the cracks, but the opposite happened. Child abuse deaths have been down for 3 years in a row, and now there's a new advisory committee that will make sure that that trend continues.
The advisory committee is going to help ensure that all of the different regions that are part of the department, that we're all doing it the same.
There will be 13 members on the committee.
Parents, frontliners, investigators, supervisors, regional directors, judges, attorneys that have represented both children and parents, DA's office.
Carrie wrote the law to make sure the board is well-rounded and people from all sides of child welfare have a say.
So this advisory committee just sounds like accountability.
It is accountability, absolutely.
Now, Wilcoxon wrote another bill this past session that also became a law. It's around the same topic. It makes sure parents who are being investigated are made aware of all of their rights to ensure children aren't being removed from homes that aren't actually dangerous. You can hear more about that law on KSAT.com.
All right, let's check in with Adam Caskey. Humidity is lower out there. Are the temperatures going to get any lower?
I mean, typical for the evening, but don't get your hopes up.
Sound confident.
Well, we're not going to have a cold front. The cold front that we're all yearning for, we typically get late September on average for that first noticeable cold front. It's really not in the cards anytime soon within the foreseeable future, basically 7 to 10 days. Still a few sprinkles off to the west. We're talking Rock Springs, especially down to Camp Wood, Brackettville. That was over the past 3 hours. Right now, closer to Camp Wood and into Brackettville. Very, very light. We're talking a few hundredths of an inch, and that's it. This is part of a trough axis, an upper level disturbance that's headed eastward across the state. For the most part, it's just giving us cloud cover. It did give us a beautiful sunrise this morning with some of that cloud cover, but otherwise just clouds right now. We'll talk about the rest of the week and the two systems in the Atlantic where they're headed in a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Let's get a check of traffic out there during the 6 o'clock commute. We're going to take you to the TransGuide camera. Loop 410 at Marbach. I believe these are the westbound lanes. A little slow going as traffic kind of merges there and gets going past this point. I don't know why it's backed up right now. One of those traffic mysteries, but the other direction, moving along just fine.
While our attention is firmly on football season, our San Antonio Spurs are dribbling their way back into town.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. The Spurs held their media day today, and our Larry Ramirez is here to give us a sneak peek and all the excitement, Larry.
And you know, the Spurs are excited because they really feel they're going to end that 6-year playoff drought this season. And you know what? They really have the players to do it. Today, we got to talk with many of the Spurs for the first time since the end of last season. Media Day signals the start of training camp. And tomorrow, the guys will practice as they get ready for their season opener, October 22nd at the Dallas Mavericks. Guard De'Aaron Fox is entering his 9th season in the NBA and his first full season with the Spurs after they traded for him back in February. Fox is coming back from pinky surgery, and he's also dealing with the left hamstring injury. He wants to play in their season opener, but will likely have to miss it.
I mean, I feel good. I felt like I could have played a little bit ago, but they're not letting me. So, we're taking it day by day, but I feel great. I don't think for preseason, I don't think I'll be ready for opening night. Well, I think I'm ready, but I don't have that expertise. But we go off of kind of how I feel, and like I said, I feel like I can go out there and play right now.
You know, the Spurs will always err on the side of caution when it comes to their players. And coming up later in sports, we'll have more from Spurs Media Day with a report from Mary Rominger and RJ Marquez and what stood out to them today.
All right, thank you, Larry. Just over a month to go before elections begin in San Antonio. A lot of folks still have questions about what their decisions at the ballot box could mean for the city and for Bexar County. You've seen those signs for Prop A and Prop B. We're going to talk about potential Spurs Arena funding with Judge Peter Sakai when he joins us for our KSAT Q&A.
And more than 30 years later, investigators think they've cracked Austin's infamous yogurt shop murder case, who they believe committed the crime and how they found him. Well, it has been over 30 years since 4 girls were murdered inside of an Austin yogurt shop.
And now police believe they know who was responsible for those crimes. Using DNA testing, investigators say that serial killer Robert Eugene Brashers killed the 4 inside that yogurt shop before then setting the building on fire. Brashers took his own life in a standoff with police in 1999. That same year, 2 men were arrested for the yogurt shop murders. Both confessed, but later claimed their confessions were made under duress, and their convictions were overturned.
All right, let's bring it back here at home with Live Cam. It's a beautiful day today, and I know that it's not cool temperatures no matter how much our outfits are willing them, Myra. I really tried to will fall today, but really, it's at least the humidity's lower. It feels so much better.
And we had the natural shade from the clouds.
Yes.
That was nice this afternoon. And hey, it's not 100.
We got that going for us.
We got that going for us. So
can I be cynical and say it's the end of September? It better not be 100.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. 100 degrees is in our rearview mirror. That's done. Well, let's talk about the overall pattern and what's going to settle in for the rest of the week and really the next several days. And we still have that weak little shower just off to the west of us. Nothing significant there. A very, very weak sprinkle, basically, from about Camp Wood southward down toward Bracketville. We're talking a few hundredths of an inch. The kind of little sprinkle where you may not even need your windshield wipers if you're going to drive through it. So insignificant there, and overall very dry week that we're looking at. Disturbance over the 4 corners, just to the basically northwest of Texas and west of Texas. And this, under the right conditions, would be able to kickstart good showers and storms for us. But we just don't have those conditions. We don't have that Gulf moisture in place, which feels nice outside because it's not muggy, and we don't have that instability. Instead, we have drier conditions, so we're just getting the clouds. Upper level high, big blue H. We all know what that means. High means dry, and guess what? It is the primary influencer of our weather for the next several days. There will be disturbances out there. Those upper level lows, they'll just be blocked by the upper level high that's going to be overhead. So you look at the rainfall potential, and it's very bleak. Not just for south central Texas here in our neck of the woods, but everywhere across the state. So where we have drought here in Texas, we're likely to fall deeper into that drought for the next 7 to 10 days. All right, 2 systems. We have Hurricane Umberto, Category 4, just south of Bermuda. And we have Tropical Storm Imelda, which is likely to become a hurricane soon. Now, both of these systems are going to steer away from the U.S. Now, there was some concern that Imelda would go into the Carolinas. That's not the case anymore. The steering flow will take these both eastward and actually impact Bermuda more than anything in the days ahead. So quiet tomorrow morning at 68, 93 in the afternoon. Basically rinse and repeat. Mornings in the upper 60s, afternoons low to mid 90s. I didn't have anything else to put out in on the extended forecast, but October 1st on Wednesday. There you have it, folks.
It's a reminder.
Yeah, it's something.
Thanks, Adam.
I had to dress it up a little.
All right. Well, earlier in the noon, we were talking about how RJ and Mary had a blast at the Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs Media Day.
So we had total 7 KSAT employees covering Spurs Media Day, from on-air people to behind-the-scenes people. Mary and RJ were there, and coming up, they're going to break down what really stood out to them. And in high school football, big game coverage. It's week 6, so we have a brand new 12's Top 12 coming up. The Spurs held Media Day this morning at their practice facility as the team gets ready for their season opener. Mary Rominger and RJ Marquez were there, and they have more.
Hey, Larry. Yeah, here with RJ Marquez. Spurs 2025 Media Day officially in the books, and an exciting day it was. It's been a while since the Spurs have gone into a season with this well-rounded of a roster, depth at some key positions, RJ.
Absolutely. And for me, the thing that stuck out the most, Mary, was, besides Keldon Johnson's cowboy hat, which I thought was awesome, was just the overall health of the guys. Clearly, Victor is the headliner, but we also got some updates on Dylan Harper as he continues his recovery, and also on Darren Fox dealing with the thumb in the offseason, and now a little bit of the hamstring, but he says he feels pretty good.
Yeah, positive injury updates overall. Now, as far as Victor Wembanyama, coming off of that deep vein thrombosis, a health scare, was curious to see how he would look coming off of an offseason where he journeyed the world.
Absolutely.
And I was enlightened to hear how his perspective on life really changed. Take a listen.
It's life-changing. Spending so much time in hospitals and around doctors, and hearing more bad news than I wish I heard. In the long run, I think it's going to be very beneficial, because even though I don't wish it on nobody, it makes you understand lessons that nothing else could have made you understand.
And Wemby telling us that he is a go for the Spurs opener in Dallas against the Mavs.
You love to hear that. One other guy I was really interested to hear from, Mary, was the reigning Rookie of the Year, Steph Castle. He always looks so stoic, always looks very serious, but you know what? He was pretty serious about what his intentions are for the Spurs. He talked about getting this team back to the playoffs and getting to that next level.
One of our goals this year is to make the playoffs, so I feel like that would be a success in a year or two for me.
All right, good stuff from Steph Castle there. Cannot wait to see what he does in year 2, but this will be officially year 1 for head coach Mitch Johnson. Mary, what were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, Mitch Johnson today preaching defense. That will be the foundation of this Spurs team in 2025, so I'll be excited to see how that comes to fruition on the court. Now, Larry, we saw you sit down with Jeremy Sohan and De'Aaron Fox. How did that go?
Thank you, guys. And both interviews were very smooth, Mary and RJ. We'll have those sit-downs with Sohan and Fox in the coming days on KSAT Sports Now, streaming your way weeknights at 7. And it's time now for a new 12's Top 12 Class 6A. Warren is in this week at number 12. Lee is number 11. Clemens is down to number 10. New Braunfels Canyon is 9. Medina Valley is up to number 8. Taft is 7, Brandeis is 6, Clark is 4-0, and number 5, Johnson is 4, Brennan 3, Harlan is number 2, and the Steel Knights are still number 1 in Class 6A. How about 5A now? Piper's down to number 12. Lanier comes in at number 11. South San is 10. Bernie Champion is 9. Tivy is up to number 8. John Jay is ranked number 7. Southwest Legacy is number 6. Southwest sits at number 5. Those two are certainly on a collision course. Alamo Heights is down 2-4 following their first loss this season. Bernie is up 1 after topping Heights. Smithson Valley is number 2. New Braunfels is still number 1 in Class 5A. And how about your sub 5A now? The Kennedy Lions are number 12, having a great season. Antonian is 11. Comfort is 10. Blanco is now number 9. Nixon Smiley is number 8. Somerset is 7, and they're coming off a bye week. Hondo is 6. Bandera is number 5. Canyon Lake is 4. Poth is up to 3. La Vernia as 2. And the Davenport Wolves are still number 1 at 5-0.
All right, Larry. Thank you.
You got it.
Still ahead here on the news at 6. Lottery lightning has struck twice in South Texas. How much one player in San Antonio won off of a scratch-off ticket.
And after the break, we catch up with Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai to discuss the upcoming election, Spurs Arena funding, and a whole lot more. Well, we are a little over 1 month from a crucial vote that could put Bexar County on the hook for millions of dollars to help fund a new downtown Spurs arena.
But it is not a tax increase for most people in San Antonio. To help explain that and where the money is coming from, we are joined now by Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai for today's KSAT Q&A. Judge, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you.
People are seeing the signs already for Props A and Prop B. We're going to break down the differences between those in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the similarities, the source of that money. Where is that money coming from should these two pass?
It is coming from the county venue tax, which consists of hotel occupancy tax and a rental car tax. We call it the tourist tax. That's where the money is coming from for referendum Proposition A and B.
And it already exists, that tax.
That's already exists, and it's by statute. That's why there's an election. There's an election because we're required to get voter approval. So the voters are going to have to understand the issues, and I am hopeful that they're going to be able to get the correct information that they need to so that they can make an educated decision.
And let's talk about Prop B specifically. If the voters do approve this, what would that allow the county to do?
What Proposition B is the use of the hotel occupancy tax and the rental car tax for a Spurs venue. I need to clear up some misinformation. This is not Project Marvel. That is a City of San Antonio project. The county has dedicated to Proposition A, Referendum A, for the county facilities, Frost Bank Center, Joe Freeman Coliseum, the Coliseum grounds, so that the rodeo can maintain a year-round business plan. Referendum Proposition B is whatever balance of money, we put a cap, 25%, up to $311 million. And that is what's going to go for the new Spurs venue, wherever they want to put it. And so as far as Project Marvel, the county is not connected at all. And I hope that clears it up for the voters.
So the new Spurs arena is a key part of the larger Project Marvel. I see what you're saying there. I want to make sure that we are as clear as we can possibly be about what's on the ballot, because a sample ballot is available now. And because of state requirements at the top of Prop A and B, it does say this is a tax increase.
You are right.
However, we are talking about increasing an existing hotel occupancy tax for anybody who checks into a motel, rents a room in San Antonio, and increasing the tax on a rental car.
The tourist tax. So let me go further deeper so that the voters can understand. This is not a homeowner property tax. It is zero impact on homeowners and renters. And so what is going to be put on the ballot is, yes, there's a pushback of a tax increase, but let me explain, if I could, what that tax increase in the hotel occupancy tax, and that's all that we're increasing, 1.75% to 2%. If one were to stay in a hotel for $200 a night, I'm not good at math, but 200 times 1.75 is $3.50. To go to 2% increase, that's $4. That's a 50 cents a day tourist tax in order to support Referendum A, which will allow the San Antonio Rodeo to have a year-round business plan and whatever we can give the Spurs for a new Spurs venue.
And so we know that Prop A, because we want to make sure people know that they're separate. Prop A, if it focuses on the area that the Spurs would leave if it were to pass.
I hope the voters remember that when it first came out, the Spurs pushed hard for earlier election. I pushed back saying we don't have enough information. And so what's important, guys, is to recognize that we are trying to focus in on the east side. I put that as a number one condition. Before I help the Spurs, I have to make sure. I believe this election is about an east side, downtown revitalization of economic development of a county-city partnership. Let's make sure the Frost Bank Center does not become the next Astrodome. Anybody been to Houston?
Yeah.
That place is sitting there rotting, and it's an eyesore. And I have to make sure the Frost Bank Center is viable. And I have no doubt that when we remake the Coliseum grounds, if you've been to the rodeo, or to the Spurs game. People go and leave. They don't stay. But if we can make it Pearl-like, if we can take away the asphalt, the cement, the barns that have dirt floors and repurpose them so that there are practice arenas, so that there are year-round events, I want businesses, restaurants, small businesses to be in this facility so that it becomes an economic generator. People will come and spend the day, whether it's an event at Frost Bank, whether it's an event at Joe Harry Freeman Coliseum. Remember, the Coliseum Advisory Board has car shows and all kinds of things going on at the same time, along with the rodeo. And if we can have people go and spend money there, we want to make that an economic generator. That is what's going to be a game changer for the East Side. And by the way, we are able to help the San Antonio Spurs with a new venue.
Yeah, so Prop B would put that increase in the hotel occupancy tax and car rental money. That would go to the arena. Prop A would keep the East Side, Freeman Coliseum, Frost Bank Center grounds viable, used by the rodeo for years to come. You mentioned economic generator. Before we let you go, I want to ask you about your trip to Japan. You just got back and you were telling us this is about bringing business to Bexar County.
Right. We had a very successful economic development trip. I unfortunately missed you in KSAT News, but I am proud to announce that I have been able to bring jobs back to Bexar County. We have Japanese manufacturing industries that are going to locate as a result of last year's economic development trip. And I just got another manufacturing company. We'll have formal announcements yet to come. So,
manufacturing jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
Any idea how many?
Oh, we're going to put that all into a formal press conference once we get all the details. Obviously, we'll sit down with these Japanese industries to see what tax incentives, inducements. This is the type of negotiation that the county has to do in order for us to have growth. So I'm going to go back to referendum A and B. This referendum election is so important that to encourage growth. We've got to make sure that the East Side has the ability to really fulfill the promise that they were given, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, which people have not forgotten
They
about.
haven't forgotten. And if you think about the current grounds, we've got to make sure that we have an opportunity to look at the Willow Springs Golf Course to see what economic opportunities we can bring to the table with that.
Right.
Can we deindustrialize that whole warehouse area with economic incentives?
Yeah.
So the same incentives I brought Japanese businesses is going to be the same thing. Can we use a public-private partnership? Can we bring business together and to come together as a community to focus in on the East Side, which will help the entire city?
Yeah, we'll see what the voters decide in November.
I respect the votes.
Judge, thanks for being here. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
I appreciate it too.
We'll be right back. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Someone just earned themselves $1 million playing the lottery, but it wasn't through Powerball or Mega Millions. They won that money through a humble scratch-off ticket. The ticket was purchased at the Circle K on Walsham Road near Loop 410. So congratulations to them. I didn't even know they paid out $1 million in that.
Right, well, you never see it. That's the thing, right?
Exactly.
It's always, you lost everything or I got my dollar back.
Well, at least we're winning the humidity lottery. That's hard to say.
Hey, that's a good one, though. The
Humidity lottery.
The muggy lottery. We got rid of that mugginess. And the clouds we have moving overhead today made for a beautiful sunrise this morning. Thank you, Marion, for posting this great shot of that nice low light right before sunrise bouncing off those clouds. Whenever you get the mid and upper clouds scattered, you often get beautiful sunrises and sunsets. The clouds moving through, however, not a whole lot of rain to go with it, just a little bit closer to the Rio Grande. We'll talk about the overall temperature trend and more on the tropical action in just a bit.
Well, we know Judge Sakai is a busy guy, so while he's in the building, Myra stepped out to get some more in-depth interviews with him, and we'll have that information for you to come this week. But right now, it's just me and Adam. We got you. And let's talk a little bit about this drop in humidity, because it's really the only thing that we're going to have for a while, because there's no rain on the radar.
Hey, it's something. At least we don't have that thick humidity with the tropical air. You know, the mugginess can lead to rainfall, but we just won't have the conditions going forward to really turn any of that mugginess into rain, so at least we'll get a break from the humidity. Let's talk temperatures going forward. Pretty simple. I mean, no big fluctuations. Low to mid 90s, anywhere from 91 to 94 is going to be our high temperature over the next 7 to 10 days. And when you look at the nation as a whole, from October 5th to October 9th, we're looking even farther ahead into the future. You can see above average for Texas and everywhere basically east of the Rockies, likely to be above average, just below average in the far western U.S. because of some upper level troughs that will dig southward and pull some cooler air down. Let's talk about the tropics. Hurricane Umberto, Category 4 hurricane. This is a whopper of a storm. Max sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. It's just south of Bermuda right now. Then we have Tropical Storm Imelda, which is likely to become a hurricane, if not overnight, probably sometime tomorrow morning. Now, remember before Imelda actually formed, before we could get measurements of the system that was actually out there, there were some indications that there's a chance of it moving into the Carolinas. That's no longer expected with this system. And I want to point this out too, the wave heights out there. It's rocking and rolling in the Atlantic right now. Just southwest of Bermuda, 40-foot waves because of the Category 4 Hurricane Umberto, and then even 18-foot waves off the Florida and Bahama coastline. So big time waves out there. You know, we often call these fish storms because they stay out to sea. Well, it also impacts shipping, of course, as well when you're talking, you know, waves like that. Now, both these systems arcing eastward, I think primarily it's a threat to Bermuda for a Category 1 to Category 2 hurricane with Imelda as it heads off to the east. And you look at the spaghetti plots and you see both systems going off into the North Atlantic. As for the names, Imelda's crossed off now. If we see another one, it would be Jerry and then Karen. 87, our high. That's exactly average. That's 10 degrees below the record high of 97 set back in 2019. 86 right now. The dew point, 52. Now we're talking, right? Lack of mugginess outside. 86 at the airport will be 77 by 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we start the day in the mid to upper 60s across most of San Antonio, closer to 60 in the hill country, then 93 in the afternoon. And it's basically the same old thing, day after day after day.
Well, if it's going to be something, at least 60s in the morning. Dare I say I was chilly the other morning? I woke up early enough.
Yes, dare you say that. It was 63.
Listen, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. All right, thanks, Adam. Well, here's a look at what's on ABC Prime tonight after our show. Catch the Bengals versus the Broncos for Monday Night Football. Then don't forget, afterwards, join us back here for the Night Beat. Well, there is lots going on in the sports world, so we are going to dip into the KSAT 12 newsroom. That's where Larry Ramirez is with a preview of what's on KSAT Sports Now.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. So tonight we're going to lead off with Spurs Media Day. It went from about 9 this morning to roughly 1 this afternoon. We got a chance to talk to 6 or 7 of the players and head coach Mitch Johnson. Tonight we're going to hear from Victor Wembanyama as he gets ready for his 3rd year in the NBA. He's going to talk about coming back from that blood clot that he had in his right shoulder that ended last season early for him. He's also going to talk about the world which he traveled this offseason, and he just says he misses basketball and he wants to get back out there on the court. We're also talking about the Texans' first win of the season, the good, bad, and the ugly from that victory. The Cowboys and the Packers tied in overtime. We're going to break that one down and also have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Plus, we've got the best of big game coverage and a brand new 12's Top 12. And that and much more coming up at 7 o'clock on KSAT Sports Now. We'll be right back after the break.
Imagine being a Hunt volunteer firefighter and getting a call on July 4th that your neighbors need help. Well, more than half of them could not leave their homes because they were stuck because of flooded roads. Tomorrow on GMSA, you're going to hear the stories of those that were involved here on Ground Zero.
And don't forget to tune in for GMSA Plus beginning at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, any way you stream.
Quiet this week. I mean, 68 in the morning tomorrow, sunny. 86 at noon, 93 in the afternoon. At least we won't have that really tropical air in place where it's overly humid and sticky and muggy outside. That's not going to be the case. But it's still going to be above average temperature-wise, especially in the afternoons.
We will take what we can get. All right, thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching. We'll see you tonight for the Night Beat.